Welcome back, everyone. Let's continue interpreting the verses of Surah Al-Hashr from verse 22 to verse 24. Allah Almighty concluded Surah Al-Hashr with three noble verses that include some of the beautiful names of Allah. These names begin with monotheism of Allah Almighty in His saying, He is Allah. The section of the verse that states, He is Allah, there is no God worthy of worship except Him, signifies monotheism, which is the foundation of the religion of Islam and the universal message of the previous prophets. The section of the verse that says, Knower of the seen and unseen, means that Allah Almighty knows the unseen and what the hearts conceal. This is a characteristic exclusively attributed to Allah. The intended meaning of His saying, He is the most compassionate, most merciful, is that the compassionate signifies general mercy towards all creation. As for the merciful, it signifies specific mercy towards the believers. Allah is a name that includes all the meanings of the names and attributes of Allah Almighty. It is said that it is the greatest name. The noble verse begins by mentioning the attribute King, indicating that Allah Almighty possesses the domination of the heavens and the earth, and all that is within them and between them. He is their creator and sustainer, managing them as He wills. The attribute, the Most High, signifies that Allah Almighty is free from any imperfection or flaw, pure and elevated above all defects and deficiency. He alone is the embodiment of perfection. As for the attribute of all perfect, it means that Allah Almighty is free from any imperfections and deficiencies. His name is As-Salam, and from Him comes peace. In this noble verse, Allah Almighty describes Himself as the source of serenity, which means that Allah is the guardian and provider for His servants. In other words, He feeds them, provides them with water, shelters them, and protects them from fear and terror. And Al-Mu'min also means the one who sends miracles to make people believe His messengers, such as the Holy Quran, reviving the dead, splitting the moon, and the she-camel, and others. As for the attribute of Al-Muhayyim, it means that Allah Almighty is the watchful guardian over everything. Nothing is hidden from Him in the heavens and the earth. The attribute of the Almighty, Al-Aziz, means the strong and prevailing, who cannot be overcome by anything. Here is a table summarizing the new names of Allah that we learned in this verse. The King means the king and owner of domination. The Most Holy means that He is absolutely pure from any defects. The All-Perfect means free from any imperfection or deficiency, and the giver of peace. The source of serenity means the one who sends miracles to make people believe His messengers. The Watcher of all means the overseer who controls everything. The Almighty means that nothing is beyond His ability. Supreme in might means the restorer of matters. The Majestic means the one of supreme greatness and pride. As mentioned in Surah Al-Mujadala, Allah Almighty and His messengers will always prevail. In regard to His self-description as Al-Jabbar, Allah implies that He, in all His might and power, is capable of anything. He is a restorer of all affairs, mending the hearts of the broken and comforting them with His mercy and kindness. Al-Mutakabbir means that Allah Almighty is exalted above any imperfection or flaw. Arrogance towards others is forbidden and reprehensible because humans are imperfect and weak. When one becomes arrogant, they overstep their boundaries. Therefore, always strive to embody the virtue of humility. Arrogance when it comes to Allah Almighty is perfect because He is the Great and the Most High. This verse concludes with saying, Glorified is Allah far above what they associate with Him in worship, meaning glorifying Allah and exalting Him from any imperfection or deficiency. Subhanallah, He is free from any association with partners. It emphasizes that Allah Almighty has no partners in His lordship, divinity, or His names and attributes. Al-Khaliq, which means the Creator, which signifies the one who has determined destinies and set a decree and destiny for every creature and everything. The Inventor means that Allah Almighty is the one who granted life to living beings and brought them into existence from nothingness. The Shaper, which means that Allah Almighty is the one who shapes and creates His servants, bringing them forth in various forms and shapes as He wills. As you may notice, every person has a unique and distinct look that is not shared by anyone else in creation. You might find similarities in faces, but they never completely match. This is evidence of Allah's marvelous craftsmanship in creation. The next section of the verse, He alone has the most beautiful names, means that all the names of Allah Almighty indicate His unique and perfect attributes. This table shows the new phrases that we learned from this verse. The Inventor means the giver of life to all living beings. The Shaper means the one who shapes everything as He wills. The most beautiful names means names indicative of the beauty of meanings. Notice that Surah Al-Hashr concludes with what is stated, which is the glorification of Allah the Almighty. This is an indication of the necessity to consistently praise Allah Almighty. Now we have reached the end of this beautiful lesson, and together we have learned the following. The highest form of injustice is self-injustice, as it can lead oneself to the fire of hellfire. Allah is a name that encompasses all meanings of the most beautiful names and the high attributes. It is said to be the greatest name. Arrogance towards people is forbidden and condemned because humans are inherently flawed and weak. However, arrogance, when it comes to Allah Almighty, is perfect because He is the Great and the Most High. Now we have come to the end of our lesson today, my friends. Goodbye for now. I will see you in the next lesson.